Why do we watch horror movies? According to an article from Very Well Mind, there is a demographic of people who watch horror movies as a form of therapy or specifically to help people with anxiety or trauma. In other words, people who watch horror can actually develop the ability to cope with stressful or traumatic experiences. The article goes on to say horror watchers develop strategies to cope with their fears, which in turn makes them more resilient. Now take that idea and apply it to Black horror, which is known to be a subgenre that tends to be socially inflected horror. We are able to understand the relevance and the importance of the stories that Black horror expresses to its viewers. The heavy topics from abusive fathers or lack thereof to dirty cops tearing down our neighborhoods from the inside out are presented to us in these types of media and empowers us to overcome those fears. While it's important to create horror movies that just scare us and don't have a history lesson thrown in a thought-provoking manner, it's equally important to provide original tales of social horrors. And Jordan Peele has become a master at creating them. In case you don't know him, which is possible because Jordan Peele is relatively new when it comes to directing, he's only contributed 3 films to the genre so far, including Get Out from 2017, Us from 2019, and Nope from 2022. Though his filmography isn't massive, what he has contributed to the horror genre is. What Jordan Peele does with his films isn't new. Looking back to films such as George Romero's Night of the Living Dead that went against societal norms by not only featuring a Black man as the lead, but he lived through the majority of the movie and he was the hero. Truly unheard of in 1968. You may look at Jordan Peele's films and assume everything he's created is about race. And I admit, even I was short-sighted in my approach when first thinking about the underlying meanings of his films. But what are they really about? Fear. And fear is universal.
Why can't I move?
You're paralyzed. Just like that day when you did nothing. You did nothing. Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
In Get Out, we meet a young Black man named Chris, whose white girlfriend Rose takes him to meet her parents for the first time. Rose's parents go out of their way to show Chris how open-minded they are, but something is suspicious in the way that they and all the people around them, white and Black alike, are acting. We later find out that the white people in this movie are part of a cult that traps Black people in the sunken place, and they take over their bodies for themselves. Now, Get Out explores multiple fears, aside from the obvious fear of like what it's like to be Black in America and to have your body seen as a commodity. It also uncovers fears related to things like dating someone of another race and the repercussions of that, to being around people who look like you, talk like you, and yet they treat you like an outsider for some reason or another. Being someone who is biracial, I believe Peele put a little bit of himself and his own fears in this film. Fear is an emotion that causes us to behave in a certain way, much like Adelaide in Us. Her fear of living in a world where no one knew her suffering caused her to do the unthinkable, switching with her original and going on to live a normal life. Us explores a different type of fear. In Us, Adelaide, who's married, has 2 children, living a quintessential life by American societal norms. This family appears to be perfect, happy, and it's not really all sunshine and rainbows. Suddenly, Adelaide and her family are visited by their doppelgangers, who are starting an uprising from underground because in the world of Us, everyone has a doppelganger down below and now wants to take over after being imprisoned in the shadows for so long. Us puts into perspective what we view as the American dream, our ways of exploitation of others that we deem less than, and America's horrific past of genocide. It's about taking a look inside and seeing the darkness that hides below the surface. What if we stopped to take a look in the mirror? Would we like what we see about ourselves? We all have fears. When we were children, we had simple fears like, being afraid of the dark or going down into the basement alone. As we grew older, those fears evolved. The thing we love about horror films is that you can cover your eyes or simply turn it off if you get scared. But what do you do when you are the monster? In Nope, Peele explores that idea and then some. Nope is about 2 siblings, OJ and Emerald, who, after the loss of their father, do all they can to save their ranch and horse wrangling business. Nope, which stands for Not of Planet Earth, takes our fears of the unknown, being unknown, and erased from history, and even provides a perspective on how we consume media. The movie opens with a Bible verse from Nahum 3:6 that states, "I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle." And it proceeds to give us this display of performances gone wrong. Peele uses these scenarios, even that of OJ and Emerald's attempt at capturing an alien predator on camera, as a way to exhibit how we are as a society when it comes to media, how we consume that media, and our desire for more. Simply put, it's about exploitation and what happens when it backfires. Tananarive Due, a Black horror author, stated that these films aren't for Black people, but they are about the Black experience, which leads me to my final point. What is the ultimate fear? Not being centered in media? Peele uses his films to reverse engineer horror movie tropes. The Black guy dies first, the final girl is always a white woman, and the white savior complex are just a few of those. Peele is intentional with his films. Everything means something. Being labeled as smart horror or elevated horror, his films are a callback to Black horror films of like the 60s, the 70s that told our stories and gave voice to our experiences. He is masterful in his approach and continues to surprise viewers. I'm reminded of Dario Argento, who some call the master of horror. His works, such as Suspiria, are immensely creative and original, while also being pretty terrifying in some way. Both of these directors artfully present real-life horrors in a cosmic and extremely visceral way. Argento said he created horror based on his own anxieties and fears, and honestly, I can't help but see the same reflected in Jordan Peele's works as well. Jordan Peele has a unique approach in expressing real fears and heavy issues like classism, police brutality, exploitation. While he has only written and directed 3 films since 2017, he has written and produced other films such as Candyman from 2021. His directing career is just getting started, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what he does next. Jordan Peele is a master at taking our fears and presenting them very horrifyingly, and in a way for others to understand us, pun intended, but also to understand themselves. Let me know down in the comments how you would rank the Jordan Peele films. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join in on the conversation of all things horror.